All right, we got 2 producers today. I don't even know who's coming in to do this.
Somebody come in.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's diving into the power rankings back
I got
there?
2 minutes.
I don't have a list, but I'll make it up on the fly. Let's go.
All right, let's
I'm
just bang
pretty sure
it.
you do that as is.
No, I prepare all the time. What are we talking about?
Yeah, okay.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 134 of Birds vs. Boys. We are here looking forward to week 9 in the NFL season. Week 9, how that happened, I have absolutely no idea. The trade deadline has come and gone. The Eagles are still undefeated, 7-0. The Dallas Cowboys sitting at 6-2 heading into their bye. Philadelphia is literally shitting on the state of Texas right now. Aiden is having the time of his life. So I don't even have to say, Aiden, how are you? But I'm going to do it anyway. Aiden, how are you?
I was thinking of how I was going to respond because you always ask me. And I literally, in my head, thought I'm going to say, Kevin, I am having the time of my life. This is fantastic. And we don't really need to recap the Eagles game on Sunday.
Did you even remember it?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was going to say the amount of sports stuff that happens, it's just a blur.
I was talking about the amount of alcohol consumed by you on Sunday.
Oh, no. Oh, I remember every single A.J. Brown touchdown. Mm-hmm. That was just incredible. But basically, where I was going with it is that was so perfect in the sense that I am stressed in every inning of every pitch of every Phillies game. And it was perfect for the Eagles to just be up by 30 in the fourth quarter. The starters are out, and Jason Kelce is wearing a Batman mask. Like, if I could sum up the vibes in Philadelphia right now, it would be that.
It would be Jason Kelce without a shirt on, a Batman mask on, and a backwards Philly hat.
Correct. There's going to be a lot of people who look like him who are wearing that exact outfit on Broad Street if the Phillies pull this off. So that makes sense. That checks out.
And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Make sure you tell your friends, tell your family to hit that subscribe button so you can see our beautiful faces. But if you see something different and you usually watch on YouTube, you see light. That is because we are recording this episode during the day because, well, the Texans and Eagles play Thursday night. So we have to get this pod out before then. And, well, the Phillies are playing on the World Series. So Thursday. We need to talk Thursday. They're playing Wednesday. They're playing Thursday, and then that's probably it. I don't think it goes back to Houston. So
I hope not.
All right. So I want to touch a little bit on the trade deadline before we get into Eagles-Texans, because obviously the Cowboys are on a bye. So I don't know if it seemed like for you, but this was almost like Major League Baseball trade deadline. It's just the amount, maybe not the biggest names, a lot of good names, but the flurry of trades and moves at the deadline was unbelievable to me.
It didn't do as much for me as I think some people, like everyone was hyping it up. It's like, oh, this is insane. It's like, it's cool. I think, and it was like Christian McCaffrey getting traded. That's like a highlight name, but that like happened last week. And it's like the day of the trade deadline wasn't as exciting as I thought it was amped up to be by a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Still pretty cool to have this action and see, even when games aren't being played, there's still a lot of headlines for the NFL.
And I do feel like Twitter and social media kind of does that to us too. Like, I don't know if you remember, like back in the day when it was free agency and like the Nandi Asamoah thing, like you were sitting in front of your TV waiting for the headline. Now it's just, you just scroll every 2 seconds and it's somebody else has put it. So it's kind of like, it's exciting, but at the same time kind of lackluster because it's so quick and everything's happening. You're not sitting there like this, like,
the shock value, there's less shock value now. Yes. I mean, and there's still shock value there. Like, like Christian McCaffrey playing for the 49ers to me is huge. Yes. We're doing midseason awards and we're going to talk about sleeper teams. Just consider this foreshadowing. Let's just do it right now. Like that's a big move, and there's like big moves, and there's still shock value to that. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting.
You know where the shock value? There is no shock value.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, 100% when it comes to the trade deadline. So they're not playing this week. So I thought this would be the absolute perfect time for them to bring somebody in, right? You always say trade deadline, if you have a bye after, that's the perfect time to fit players in. They don't have to work right away. They can fit in the team scheme. No, of course not. So they make the move for Jonathan Hankins last week, which I liked a lot. When he was on the field last week against the Bears, Herbert and Montgomery averaged, I think it was 2.3 or 3.4 yards a carry, only 39 total yards. When he was not on the field, they got gashed. So he's going to help. He's going to do exactly what they got him there to do. But he is not a household name. He is not somebody like a Robert Quinn that the Eagles brought in, like a TJ Hawkinson, like the Vikings brought in, like a Bradley Chubb that the Miami Dolphins brought in. All big-time contenders making big-time moves like the Dallas Cowboys used to. Now, I don't want Jerry Jones going out and giving up 2 first-round picks for Roy Williams or 2 first-round picks like for Joey Galloway like he did before. But Brandin Cooks was sitting there. The deal was apparently very close to being done. The compensation was going to be a rolling compensation, almost like the Calvin Ridley, like, you know, if he does X, you get Y. If he does Y, you get Z type of thing. It wasn't going to be just a set
FanDuel account, you get X.
Yes, exactly. But I guess they were stuck on the monetary thing, the $18 million that's guaranteed for Cooks next year. Cowboys didn't want to touch that.
Especially because you guys are like pressed against the cap. You spend so much money in the offseason. It would be hard to factor him in and just bring in more talent because, you know, like you made a few trades to, you know, bring in talent to help Dak Prescott. So in that sense, it makes sense, right?
And why would you want the perfect receiver to fit into exactly what you need, who's been on 4 different teams and just fits into any scheme and gets 1,000 yards? Why would you want that, Aiden? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's unless should I bring it up? Like, there's still a chance at Odell.
There is, and Jerry has talked about him. Steven has talked about him. So it's possible.
It's like,
is it likely? I don't think so. Is it possible? Yes. Now, the thing that I keep hearing too from the insiders is if the trade deadline was 3 more days, they would have worked this out. So what you're telling me is that in March, when they were like, this wide receiver room looks a little light. We'll see how it plays out. Get to camp. James Washington breaks his foot. Let's see how it plays out. Guys don't look good. The rookie you drafted in the 3rd round's not playing. Michael Gallup's coming back. Michael Gallup comes back, not playing too well. We got Dak coming back. Let's see. Dak comes. And then like 36 hours before the trade deadline, and they're like, maybe we should do something. And then they just run out of time. Like that is Steven and Jerry.
You know how in college, the first day of classes, you sit down and every professor hands you a syllabus. And on the syllabus, it has every date laid out for when things are due.
Yes.
This is the equivalent.
Yes.
They laid out every date. The trade deadline was on there. It is November 2nd or whatever day it was. Imagine telling your professor the day that your report was due that was on the syllabus from the first day, hey, could I just have like 3 more days on this? Like, that's just not how life works. And it's just incompetence, to be quite frank.
That's Jerry and Steven walking into syllabus day in college, drunk still from the night before, taking the syllabus, putting it in the bottom of their backpack. And then the day that it's due, aka the trade deadline, they just happen to take this crumpled paper and be like, oh shit, this is today.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened. So we'll see. I mean, Jerry on the radio said it could get feverish. We all know Jerry's smoking mirrors. Jerry's selling tickets. Jerry's doing this. Jerry's doing that. I didn't really think a move was going to come. Had my hopes up a little bit, but didn't expect anything. So we'll see. They're standing pat with the team that they have. They think they have enough. They think the addition of Dak Prescott was their big trade deadline acquisition. I hate when I hear those things. I hate them.
I was already on your team. I agree. That annoys the hell out of me. He's like, no, we already factored that in. That does not count.
He's on the team already.
He's on the team already. Been on the team for 7 years.
Oh God. So we'll see. I mean, the defense, the running game got gashed by the Bears. I think the Bears are a little bit different of a running game, but the defense has been being gashed all season. So we'll see what happens when they come out of the bye and they play Green Bay. But nothing. That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, It was so funny. You and I were texting back and forth, and I was like, we should get some Cowboys content out there. And you're like, well, if they trade for Bradley Chubb, I can do something. I was like, yeah, why don't we get something out in the meantime? Because I don't think that's gonna happen. And at least in fairness, as we wrap up the trade deadline, at least the Cowboys draft well. So like when you give up draft compensation, you're like,
you mean like the second round pick that they just released yesterday, Tristan Hill?
Yeah, it's like
or the third round pick, Jalen Colbert, who can't get on the field.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that some of them play well.
You mean Tristan Hill, who they took with Juan Thornhill sitting there, and Taylor Rapp, and DK Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin all sitting there? That guy.
Yeah. He made it. JJ Whiteside also got released yesterday. Same day.
Ooh.
We
Prayers
both
go
got
out to
DK.
JJ. Prayers go to JJ. All right. So we'll see what the Cowboys do down the line if Odell is really a factor, but I think he's going to pick his own team, and I think he'll end up with the Bills.
Oh boy. I could definitely see that.
Or the Dolphins.
Or the Dolphins. Could you imagine that though? Oh
No.
Man. They are all in. Our TikTok, I don't know if you guys realize, our TikTok is going off again when we did predictions for the AFC. And everyone's like, this aged poorly. Part of it's not, though, in the sense that all of us were like, the Dolphins are really fun. We're like, They're not better than the Bills, but this is a really fun team. That is proving to be 100% true. I tried to talk you guys out of the Colts. I tried my absolute hardest. That was wrong. I really tried. But
that whole division is just shit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that division, here we are.
Perfect timing.
Eagles, Texans, Thursday Night Football. I was pretty hyped for this game when the schedule came out because there's something. I don't like Thursday night games because you're more susceptible to injuries. But the new red helmets for the Texans. It's mid-season because you kind of have an idea of how good the team's going to be. I was like, yeah, this is like a good halftime.
Yep.
It's like a good moment. And obviously, at that point, I did not think the Phillies would be playing in the World Series at the same time. Literally at the same time.
Literally against the same city.
It's against the same city. That is correct. So that changed a lot of things. But still, this is just a stretch of the schedule where this just needs to be destroy them.
Yes.
This does not need to cause stress. This should not cause anxiety. This should be a game much like Sunday where it's like, oh, it's 7-7. All right, you guys want to try? Fine. We will actually fight you now. And we'll throw chaos.
Like if the Phillies win Wednesday night, this game needs to be over by the 7th inning of Game 5 so all of Philadelphia can just enjoy the Phillies' last 3 innings of the season.
Correct. Yes. 100%. 100%. That in a perfect world, that's how it would go. Mm-hmm. I would like them to. So, I think there's going to be an overemphasis, and the Texans actually don't have a bad secondary. Like I've been seeing, like their safety was in their trade rumors, and Jalen Petrie, he was a guy that we really liked when we were doing our mock drafts that we had, and he's been playing pretty well. I would love them to emphasize the run early because I think people are going to start to overcompensate and focus on AJ Brown, even though he was catching a lot of those touchdowns over double teams, so that doesn't really mean much. But you know what I mean? Like it was like early on, we attack them, go balls, dimes to AJ Brown. Zach Pascal has his first touchdown, and then the second half we're like, oh yeah, we're up 28-7. All right, yeah, we should get Miles Sanders involved. It's like let's flip it. Let's keep people on their toes and stuff like that. So I think Miles Sanders only had like 4 or 5 rushes at halftime. It's like, all right, let's get the running game involved. Let's pound them, and I think we can do that.
And I think it's twofold there. One, like you said, keep them off balance, get the running game going, but also we just talked about the trade deadline. There were so many rumors about the Eagles trying to add another running back, right? Mm-hmm. Alvin Kamara, Jamison Williams from Detroit was in there, Naheem Hines. They didn't make a move.
No.
Go show them why they didn't make a move.
Yeah, exactly.
Why you didn't need a move.
And I'm content with that. And I don't think we've ever been the biggest Miles Sanders supporters on this show. And also, just to point it out, we probably should have been Tony Pollard supporters at some point. Like, At no point ever have we brought up the fact that if he was RB1, that it could be efficient and productive. We should have
14 carries for 151 yards and 3 touchdowns. No, I couldn't imagine that.
So it's just like, duh.
Everybody's like, well, he's going to get his time. We'll see what happens. And you and me are just sitting there like,
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Wonder how it's going to go.
The Bills, all those teams are just looking there like, yep, he's going to be playing for us next year. We're going to use him.
100%. Yeah, so this would be a great Miles Sanders game. Thursday Night Football does tend to go a little bit like that, where you're a little bit slower because the recovery's slower. You're not as crisp. And that's where you just get behind this offensive line, which they've done multiple times this year, and just say, we're bigger, we're stronger, have fun. We're better. Yeah, we're quicker, everything. Did you see the screen grab of the pocket on the one Jalen Hurts throw? And the caption was just like, this is just an absurd pocket for the NFL. It was honestly hilarious. It was manhandle. Like that is abuse. What the Eagles offensive line is doing to people.
Going back to the Cowboys game when Jason Kelce was like, it's coming on the sneak. It's just literally
it's so funny. Every QB sneak, it's like they don't even try to hide it. A lot of teams do variations, like they try to go quick, or they try to they'll start in shotgun, they'll bring somebody in motion, anything like that, just to give it that sense that they might do something other than a QB sneak. The Eagles are just like, here it is.
Jalen Hurts literally points out the hole that he's like, I'm going right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, all right. Yeah.
They're like McCullers tipping his pitches, but actually pitching well.
Correct. Yeah.
He's like, here it comes.
If it was like, here's a fastball and then blew it by it.
Yep.
That's pretty much what they do with the QB sneaks. But no, so like I'm confident. Is
there anything that scares you besides injuries?
No, well, that's what I was gonna say. So injuries, like we've experienced our first like actual serious injury, somewhat serious injury on Sunday, and Jordan Davis has already been ruled out.
4 to 6.
And a high ankle sprain for a guy that size, like that's not ideal. High ankle sprains aren't good for anybody any size.
And there's no need to rush him back, because you see Hargraves come in and it's like bang 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 when they're just so deep there.
They are, but there's just a better effectiveness when Jordan Davis is in there. When he went down, I felt like Cedric Diggory's dad when they pulled his limp body out of the Tri-Wizard tournament, and he realizes like he's limp and dead, and he's like, my boy. That's how I felt when Jordan Davis sprained his ankle and was laying on the ground. I was like, oh no.
You were like Boobie Miles' uncle sitting there in the stands when he got hurt the second time when he got dropped. You're like,
oh. That's how I felt. And I don't know if you saw right before it, it was just like such a classic Jordan Davis play where it was just like out of just like example A in the dictionary, like this is why we drafted this kid moment.
Yep.
Where 1st and 10, he just pulverizes an offensive lineman, sends him back into the running back. Davis tackles the running back at the backfield for a loss. It's 2nd and 12. And now you have a rookie quarterback and an anemic offense behind the line of scrimmage trying to gain that up on 2nd and 3rd down. I was like, that right there is why he is on this team. So
and good night.
And good night. Yeah, literally. Like right out. The game was over afterwards.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. I'm about one Citizens for Sanity commercial away from losing my sanity.
If I get one more text message, if I get one more anything.
I know they have to do it, but like sports is my escape from all of those things. I just want to watch sports. I just want to watch.
Have you seen my comparison of what the PA Senate race is?
No. Bert and Ernie.
Like they look like them. I think.
They kind of do. Yeah.
It's literally what it looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think you have any fear.
No, I don't have fear in terms of talent. Like it's just I'm at that point, and I don't like comparing it to 2017. It's different times, it's different people. But there was that stretch of the schedule where you're just laying it out, and you're like, yeah, anything can happen in the NFL, but can it? Like, how can this team beat us? Like, what are the factors that could go wrong?
That was like Tony Romo in the game the other day. Jim Nantz was like, so Tony, how can the Steelers win this game? And he's like, they can't.
Yeah.
Literally.
You know how they always do like the 3 reasons? Like, it's we are at that meme where LeBron was in his prime on the Heat, and those steps to the game or the keys to the game were like, LeBron, wake up. LeBron, get on the bus. LeBron, play. And Like that's where the Eagles are at. Eagles, get on the bus, go to NRG Stadium, play. Those are the keys.
And good night.
The only thing I am fearful of is injuries. Like I know you said aside from injuries, but it's really just injuries. Like if Lane Johnson gets hurt, let's have a conversation. If AJ Brown strains a hamstring, things change. But right now, as this team is formed, this is awesome.
Agreed. I could not agree more. All right. So let's trend.
One thing, sorry, I just wanted to bring it up because we talked all offense aside from Jordan Davis. Getting pressure on Davis Mills and not just Damian Pierce is my other son who is not Jordan Davis. Don't let them sit back and just hand it off to Damian Pierce, who is one of the few playmakers. Like force Davis Mills into throwing a million times, and you will be
Brandin Cooks and nobody else.
Yeah, exactly. Like they play a very traditional, like give it to Damian Pierce early so you can get into manageable situations and don't put a lot of pressure on an offense that doesn't have a lot of skill position players and Davis Mills. Don't let that happen.
I think Brandin Cooks is going to be on a fuck you tour against the Texans this week because all he wanted to do was be out there. He was liking every tweet about him being traded, and he wasn't, and is apparently pissed. And then I don't think he gives 110 this week.
No, especially on a short week when this just happened.
No chance.
That was weird. That was like, did you see his tweet where he's like, you're playing with my career?
Yeah.
If someone's playing with your career, are you going to play hard for them? Would you work hard for a company that's screwing with you? Probably
nope.
Not. So that'll be an interesting situation to monitor.
Yeah, when he's slapping Slay on the butt when Slay's like this. Like, good play. Or all of a sudden he has a phantom hamstring or something in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
100%.
So watch that. Mm-hmm. All right. Before we get into our TikToks here, we wanted to talk a little mid-season awards because, like we said, we're heading into week 9, which blows my mind. And technically, we don't even have like a mid-season point anymore because it's 18 weeks. So where do you want to go?
67 degrees, so it doesn't feel like mid-season at all. It's kind of still feels like September. I'm not complaining about that fact. It feels awesome.
It's supposed to be an absolutely beautiful weekend too. What a great weekend! It would be to celebrate. Hopefully,
I'll just say, you know what would be a great weekend for? A parade.
Yeah, like so. I said to my wife last night, just like looking at them, I was like, can you imagine like that month of your life after winning a World Series, like for a player?
I can't imagine for myself.
Yeah.
I stopped playing baseball in high school.
All right. So let's do a couple midseason awards. We could do, what do you want to do? A little MVP action?
Yeah, I think MVP is definitely up for debate. And I think Offensive Player of the Year is another one where you could go a few different ways. So we can add on to that. But I think those are two to start that are interesting.
Okay. I'll let you start with your MVP.
Okay. Eddie, Vince joined us too. This is a full house now. Hell yeah. All right. Now, Eddie and I talk basketball all the time, and we have a similar view on how the MVP should be handled in the NBA. I am going to use that logic here in the NFL. You choose the best player on the best team. Josh Allen is the best player on the best team. He should be the MVP. It's straightforward. And I know that the stats probably back that up as well. But just from that sense of logic, if you took Josh Allen off of this team, what are they? Because they don't have a very good running game. Nope. The defense is good, but at some points has gotten gashed. Like Aaron Jones had 140 yards the other night. But this is Josh Allen's team. Like he makes everything go.
It's like scary, right? I mean, Jalen Hurts has thrown 10 touchdowns, and we're like, he is having an unbelievable year. Josh Allen has 19 touchdowns. And he's second in the league. And
you know what's crazy? Is like Patrick Mahomes, who arguably is still the best quarterback alive. Like we just see him as this like old toy now. And the Chiefs are awesome. Like they're still as good as they've ever been. And it's like Josh Allen may have supplanted all of that this year.
He is literally Woody, and Buzz Lightyear is Josh Allen. When Andy's sitting there and he just puts Woody back down and he has Josh Allen in his hand.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah. I could not agree more. There's no debate here. It's Josh Allen. He's thrown for almost 2,200 yards, 2 yards shy of that. His QBR 76.7. Like I said, he's thrown for 19 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And like you said, best player on the best team. You put the Bills on the power rankings twice last week because you think they're that good. So he's the best player on the best team. It's over.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like maybe the Dolphins catch them. Yeah, but I don't know. I really don't see anything.
I don't know either.
It's
all right.
We're on that collision course, and it's awesome. Like it feels like we're just waiting for Chiefs Bills again.
Yep. So let's do a offensive player. I'm not going quarterback here. This is usually like the MVP is usually the quarterback, and then usually offensive player is a non-quarterback. I am going on with a guy on that team that we said was so much fun in Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
He has 69 catches for 961 yards. He only has 2 touchdowns, but he is literally on pace to beat Megatron's receiving record.
Hold on. This is perfect. I wrote down the same exact notes. I said the same thing. I said Tyreek Hill, and I was like, he's on pace, even without the extra game, to beat Calvin Johnson's year.
Like, wow. It's insane.
And he didn't even have a starting quarterback the entire time.
Yeah, literally. It's like, and everyone still questions Tua and his arm strength. Remember? And they're like, how's he going to get the ball to him? I think he's getting the ball to him. He almost has 70. He's one shy of 70 catches through 8 games.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast and it was so funny. They were like half joking, but half not. And they were like, were the Chiefs using Tyreek Hill wrong? Because like the utilization of space with Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins offense and paired with Jalen Waddle has been fantastic.
Jalen Waddle's 4th in the league in yards.
Yeah. It is insane. They also have no running game to speak of. So maybe they slow down after like getting Jeff Wilson and things like that. But
so I'm looking at the top guys right here in receiving. Stephon Diggs has 764, but he's played 1 less game. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson, 752, 1 less game. Then there's Jalen Waddle with 722. But I think a guy that has played the same amount of games, also didn't have a starting quarterback for a little while, is CeeDee Lamb. He has 556 yards on 42 catches.
That is very much going under the radar.
Yeah. But I'm saying, look at that. That's
almost
400 yards.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill has 69 catches on 92 targets when CeeDee Lamb has 42 catches on 73 targets. Tyreek Hill almost has more catches than CeeDee Lamb has targets this season.
It's wild. It is just insane. And it's just like, if you're the Dolphins, you were like, yeah, this is kind of the whole, like, this is why we made that trade. Because I think there are some people like, you're giving up a first for a receiver.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
You want the warranty. And now it's like, this makes total sense. And it's so funny because this is relevant to where we're at, where you just played. So you see Josh Allen took off when he got Stephon Diggs. Jalen Hurts has taken off now that he has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Tua looking fantastic now that he has Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And it's like the Bears are just going to do the opposite with Justin Fields. And like, all right, let's get him less talent around him.
Yep.
Let's give him even less to do. It's insane.
It is insane. All right. I think those were our midseason awards. We wanted to just keep it simple. We don't need to go coach of the year. We don't need to. We'll get into that at the end of the year. And we did that preseason. And I think some of our stuff was pretty spot on. But we're going to do our quick TikToks here. We have 2 tonight. Sleeper teams I like. And I think we've talked about a couple of them already in this show. And then we'll do our regular power ranking. So we're going to do 3 sleeper teams, right? Is that what you want to do?
We can do 3. Yeah.
I think. Are you going to do 3 to 1 or you're just going to do 3 in general?
I was just going to do 3 in general.
That's what I was going to do as well.
Yeah, I was going to say there's one team where I'm like, yeah, they're a sleeper, but I genuinely believe that they're going to be very good. And then I have like 2 other teams where I'm like, maybe, It's like, they could be fun.
Yep. All right, let's do it.
So I'll let you go first, and then I'll just say my number 1.
So I'm going with those Miami Dolphins. They're one of my sleepers. I think in the AFC, it's the Bills, it's the Chiefs, then it's the Titans. No, it's the Miami Dolphins. They're fun. I think they could put up 35 on almost anybody in a playoff game with Waddle, with Hill, and everybody else they have. Now they haven't been generating a pass rush. I think they've been 22nd in the league in efficiency and sacks. Now they have added Bradley Chubb. I think they're all in this year. That's the mentality their coach brings. So I'm going Miami Dolphins, my first sleeper team.
I like that. The only reason I didn't put them on my list is because I've enjoyed them so much that I feel like I haven't slept on them, even though many people probably have, especially considering the Tua situation.
Yep.
All right. Mine, it's 49ers. Them getting this, they are the perfect offense to get the Swiss Army knife that is Christian McCaffrey. I think it takes them so next level. And it's not a great sample size because they just destroy the Rams every time they play anyways, aside from that NFC Championship game. But you saw how effective their offense was even without Debo. And it wasn't like their best defensive performance. So they're going into the bye this week too to get Debo healthy and to get this team healthy. I think they're going to be really good in a division that all of a sudden isn't great. Like the Cardinals are just so undisciplined and the Rams have fallen off a cliff. The Seahawks are a surprise. But still, I think that's like a division that the 49ers could just leap them.
My second sleeper team, I'm going with the 49ers as well. I mean, the addition of Christian McCaffrey was just stupid. Throws for a pass, catches a pass, runs for a pass, all touchdowns. Runs for a pass, touchdowns, excuse me. Just unbelievable. And, Jimmy Garoppolo is just steering the ship, right? People keep saying, well, we'll see what happens when he does in the playoffs. That's where he collapses. He went to Lambeau and won a game in the playoffs last year. He should have been in the Super Bowl for the second time this past year. So I'm going the 49ers.
Love it. I have the Titans as my other sleeper team. It's just they're the same every year. I think I described them as like the Wisconsin or Iowa. It's just like they play in the weaker division. They run the ball effectively. It's like they figured out the Derrick Henry thing again. And I think they steadied themselves from losing A.J. Brown finally. And it's like, all right, let's run behind. Derrick Henry had his fourth game of over 200 rushing yards against the Texans in a row, not total in his career, in a row, the fourth straight. I think that they're a team that could really pull away in a bad division and kind of set themselves up to be like sneaky in the playoffs.
My last sleeper team, I'm doing this just because I want to put Geno Smith on the show. It's the Seattle Seahawks. So I really think that they're going to go into the playoffs and no. But the way they kind of are throwing Russell Wilson under the bus too at the podium the other day, like it's amazing what we can do when nobody has egos and everybody's just all in. And I loved that. I think they're playing as a team. They're playing as a unit. They have shed Mr. Unlimited and they're just playing ball.
Yep. I didn't put them on, but we're going to do power rankings and again, foreshadowing. My last team is the Patriots. I think that they could be a team that sneaks in as the 7th seed in the playoffs. I think part of this is the AFC North are just cannibals where they're just going to eat each other. We saw like the Bengals are 4-3. All they have to do is beat the 2-5 Browns. Nope. They get killed on Monday Night Football. It's like that and they've lost to the Steelers too. So it's like, they're just going to kill each other and knock each other out of the playoffs and open a window for the Patriots to make it as that 7th seed.
100%. All right. Those are our sleeper teams. Let's get to our power rankings and then we'll get you out of here, the people out of here, so they can go enjoy a Phillies World Series game and the Eagles beating down on the Houston Texans.
That's so. All right. We got 2 producers today. I don't even know who's coming in to do this.
Somebody come in.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's diving into the power rankings back
I got
there?
2 minutes.
I don't have a list, but I'll make it up on the fly. Let's go.
All right. Let's just bang it.
I'm pretty sure you do that as is.
No, I'm here all the time. What are we talking about?
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's roll.
All right. So at 5, and I would like to say this begrudgingly, is the Vikings. I don't want to put them on the list, but there aren't any other good teams. They have Kirk Cousins. We know how this ends. They have beaten one team with a winning record. It was the Dolphins without Tua. And the only time that they did play a team with a winning record, they were down 24-0 at halftime, and Kirk Cousins had 3 interceptions. I have to put them at 5 statistically. They shouldn't beat it.
5 for me, it is the Minnesota Vikings as well. They have some of the best weapons. They just added TJ Hawkinson. Put him at 5.
5. I also have the Vikings. I'm definitely not just saying that because you guys just said it, but I think it's time we have to respect the Vikings. They finally got themselves a tight end, and Kirk Cousins is still their quarterback, so I don't know if they can crack 5. I don't know if they can make it to 4, but you have to admit they're a good team.
At 4, I have the Seattle Seahawks. We talked about it with the Russell Wilson issue. I think it's just a good vibes team. Like, they're playing with house money and they can score. You look at some of these scores, 48-45, even when they lost 39-32, put up 37 on the Chargers, and then beat a good Giants team last week that's been sneaky good. So they are awesome.
Number 4 for me, Miami Dolphins. Like I said, one of the most fun teams in the league. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to beat the all-time receiving record. They could put up 35 on anybody at any time. Miami at 4.
I have Miami. It's just a fun team in a fun city and a fun team, and they're a fast team and they're fun in a fun city.
Perfect.
At 3, I've got the Chiefs. They were on the bye. I keep doing this thing, rotating them through, but since they didn't play, they fell back down from 2 to 3.
3 for me. Let's do that thing again. It's the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes. He's Woody. Nobody wants to play with him anymore, but he's damn good at his job, and he's still fun.
At 3, I have the Chiefs.
At 2, I've got the Eagles. They won with ease over the Steelers. A.J. Brown, that was awesome. That should not be a taunting penalty. That should have been a penalty on the Steelers for allowing us to taunt you. At 2, I've got the Eagles, undefeated.
2, I have the only undefeated team left in the league. They have the best quarterback. They have the best running back. They have the best receiver. They have the best defense. They just have the best everything just because they're just so good, and they have the best city and the best fans and everything. Philadelphia Eagles at 2.
At 2, I also have the Eagles. They're undefeated. I don't know how you can't put them at the top of this list.
At 1, I've got the Buffalo Bills. I thought they might get tested by the Packers. Packers, I thought that they were good. They might save their season. No, the Bills have just been a complete buzzsaw. I think they're a really complete team. And like we said, I think Josh Allen's probably MVP.
Packers won't be good until there's 1 minute and 22 seconds left against the Cowboys next week. Cowboys are going to be up by 6, and then Aaron Rodgers is going to turn into Aaron Rodgers. But until then, the number 1 team in the league, it's the Buffalo Bills. Like we said, Josh Allen is the MVP, best player on the best team. They're getting Tre'Davious White back. I mean, really, this team is getting an all-pro corner back. That's an addition that you make at the trade deadline, Aiden, even though he's already on the team.
At 1, I have the team with the best quarterback, the team with the best running back, the team with the best defense. It's Dallas Cowboys. They scored 49 points against the Chicago Bears. I mean, what else could you say?
Let's go.
Going into the bye week at number 1. All right. Power rankings with a little extra with the midseason awards this week. Thank you, Vince.
All right, Aiden, I got to get you out of here because you have a World Series game to watch.
I have a parade to plan.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And you know what everybody else has to plan? How to tell all their friends and their family to watch this damn podcast. Okay? We're anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We're there. Subscribe. Apple, Spotify, Google. We're there. You want to see our beautiful faces? You want to see producer Vince's face? Go on YouTube, subscribe, and watch us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Birds vs. Boys Pod. Our TikToks, like you said, our TikTok from 6 months ago is still going off because that's how fun our TikToks are. Find us Birds vs. Boys on TikTok as well. And we will be back next week, hopefully with Aiden having a World Series ring, hopefully with the Eagles with their first loss and the Dallas Cowboys staring Aaron Rodgers and the Packers right in the damn face. Everybody enjoy the beautiful fall weather, unless you're watching in Alaska or something.